Today I want to talk about going after your dreams. And there's all kinds of dreams that people have. And if you have a specific dream that doesn't make any sense to anybody and it's not relatable, it might not be the best thing for you to go after. Now, if there's some kind of relatability in your dream, then it may make sense to heavily pursue it. There's all kinds of hobbies and there's all kinds of dreams. And I will go at the example of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Imagine this guy, he's in the 80s, and he wanted to be a movie star after he became Mr. Olympia. And everyone said, oh, no, you couldn't do this. Now, if you zoom in and you imagine it, yeah, I guess it is possible. It is possible for something like that to happen because of how driven he was and how much time he dedicated towards it. So if you're going after something that is at least somewhat relatable to the general public, then you can be successful if you take the time to do it. Now, I dedicate my time to socializing every single day. This is day 12 of the 30-day challenge. I already got out today. I was out yesterday. Now, the hardest thing yesterday, I was on the phone with one of my family members. And they said, look, it's so bad out. You shouldn't be going out. I don't think you should be going out. I don't want you talking to anybody. I want you to be safe. I still got out and I still socialized, even though the roads were horrible. I knew that my car could take the bad roads because of how amazing my car is. And I got there safe and I talked to somebody. I talked to a lot of people today. So what that shows is that even if people are telling you, no, you can't do this, you still can if you believe enough that you can do it. Even when all the odds are against you, you can still do it. And I think if there's a niche like fitness or dating or something like that, health, wealth, and relationships, something within that you're interested in doing and you want to go after it, you should spend every day on it to some extent. Whatever time you have, spend on it. And I spend time studying different people. I study other people and how they succeed, and I go, how can I learn from this person? When I was in 7th grade, what I did was I studied chess, and I studied the best chess champion in the world, which was, I believe the best player was Bobby Fischer. I loved the way that he played, and I studied how he moved, and I beat everybody in my entire class because I studied the best. So study people who are amazing at what they do. Study the greatest minds and learn from them, and that will help you learn in what you're doing. Back many years ago, the greatest guy who was, they say, at socializing many years ago was a guy named Mystery. Now, I wouldn't say that he is that well known like he used to be. He's not well known like someone like Dan Bilzerian, but he would go out all the time. Maybe not every single day, but he went out a lot, several days a week. He had his own TV show. He's popular. He was thinking about being a judge on American Idol, and he ended up saying no. And I think what happened was the guy had very bipolar tendencies or something to that degree where he got very sad and he was like crying for long periods of time. And that's part of it. Can you ride the waves? Can you seriously ride the waves? A lot of people can't ride the waves, and the waves aren't easy to ride. They're not like riding something simple. No, these are huge waves, and the more you go after something, the bigger the waves are. Can you handle the turbulence when you're riding the surf, when you're surfing? Can you handle the crashing of the large amounts of water going right into you? And it's not like the end of the world. It's basically water, and that's when a setback happens or when something negative happens. Can you deal with that? Most people can't deal with that. Most people, they get a little bit of the tough crap and they lose. They quit. And I'll give you an example of something that I did that was very, very tough for me because it did not want to work. and it was an automation within my business. I was having a very difficult time setting it up. Every fucking tutorial I tried to do said, no, you can't. I did it exactly the way it said, still wouldn't work. Over and over, I spent all these hours working on it. So I didn't quit, but what I did is I took a step back and I focused on some other things. And now, yesterday, I focused on it again and I fixed it. So now the automation from one website to the other website works perfectly in a great flow. And that took me a long time to get, but it didn't give up on it. People give up so easily. Like if you're talking to a girl and it doesn't go well, oh, she doesn't like you. You know what? She didn't like you in that moment of time. And it could have been something with her. It could have been maybe she has a boyfriend who she's seeing, or she's just about to get married and she loves this guy. Or maybe you're not that at that moment in time. You were fat, you were overweight, or you're super skinny, or you didn't dress good and you looked ugly, or the way your energy was off. It's just that moment in time. And people can fix these things, but they would rather feel generally more comfortable not fixing them. People usually feel better just being lazy and living in mediocrity. But that kind of stuff is boring to me. I always found that chasing after abundance and large amounts of knowledge has always given me a greater insight into the way the world is, and has made me think differently than a lot of people. So if I study something or I want to learn something, I spend an extensive amount of time diving into it. And if you're in the social realm and you want to talk to people, one of the worst things you can do is just solely study conversations and the way that people talk, because what that's going to do is get you stuck inside your head. You're going to be in a really bad mindset. You should spend 30%. I would say 30 is a great percentage, even up to 50, but I wouldn't go more than that, studying other people and how they interact. But the other part of it has to be getting out, talking to all kinds of people, interacting, having conversations. Sometimes the best thing that you can do in a certain conversation while you're speaking is just be quiet for a while. Even if you're in a group of people, like let's say there's a big group of people and you're just quiet for like a few minutes while everybody else is talking. If you're dressed good and you're really handsome and you're well groomed and the conversation that you do have is good, and then you're quiet for a while, it makes you more interesting. Instead of constantly bratting people like, oh, look at me, look at me, look at me. If you're held back a little bit, it can be pretty attractive. So you need to know when to play your cards. There was a period of my life when I was younger, I'd say I was about maybe 23 or 22, and I just would study social interactions. I thought studying it was the way to go, and I did this for like 2 months. Then I finally got out, and I was so nervous talking to people because I had all these things. I could do this, I could do that, and it's an overload. So anytime you look at something, if you're watching my video, you should spend twice as much time out there talking to people, interacting, having a good time, meeting new people. And you can always play a game. There's so many bars where you can play a game. You can play darts, you can play pool, you can play all kinds of things. Jenga, a lot of bars have Jenga where you can just play that. And it's such an easy way to get to know people. And yesterday I talked about social circle. There's 2 things that can make you a superstar in today's world if you can master them. And one is building a social circle in a local setting, and the other one is being well known on the internet. If you can master either one of those or both, you can have a lot of fun whenever you're talking with people. So keep that in mind. Find a spot that you want to hang out at, and it can be somewhere that's not that huge. It could be like a lounge type bar, and it doesn't have to be at midnight or 1 a.m. It can be maybe at 7 p.m. or 8 if there's a few people there, and you're going to see the same faces over and over. So if your goal or intention is to meet a girl and you go to that place regularly, maybe not every day, but fairly frequently, and you're nice to people, not overly nice, but you're a good person, you say hi to people, you ask them, hey, how are you doing? And maybe before the place gets packed, you get to know some people, and then a girl comes in, maybe you like her, and she sees that person, you're going to end up maybe having a good time because you know people, and status is attractive. Being handsome is attractive. A lot of people don't want to admit it. They don't want to say, oh yeah, looks don't matter. They do to some extent. Looks matter to some degree. Because this beard that I have right here, I've shaven it off, and I have not had a beard, and I notice immediately, almost always, people treat me dramatically different. Just being clean shaved, no beard. And then when I have a beard, people usually think I'm 5 to 10 years older. And I get sir, I get hey man, hey sir a lot, and then I don't have my beard. People call me kid, so I have a beard. It's like you make your decisions that will help you. And it's not all looks. A lot of this is energy. If we're talking about socializing, talking with people, having a fun time, meeting new people, interacting, but it's energy, and it's looks, and it's status. It's looks, game, and fame or status. That's all it is. It's those three things, and they all interconnect to some degree. And you could be, let's say you're a really ugly guy, let's say you're like Pete Davidson, but you have a massive amount of status, you're well known all over the internet, that can maybe help you over your looks for a lot of situations. But you could also be, on the other hand, you could be a very, very handsome guy who's not known, who's not that well known, and maybe you have some good energy that can work to your advantage as well. But if you're an ugly dude, you don't know anybody, you have crappy energy, you have shitty energy, it's not going to help you. It's just not going to benefit you. So that's why, if you want to get good at this, just get out, and get out every day. And then there's dating apps too. So if you really you're so scared that you can't even cold approach a girl, or you can't even go to a bar fairly frequently, then figure out the dating apps. Because I've figured out a large amount of how they work, and I can show you how to make them work in your favor. I've went on many, many, many dates with all kinds of girls in the past few years, and I can help you do that if that's what you want. And you should do that because you need mentors, because somebody who can guide you and direct you in the right way is what you need. And that's what people like me that I look for. I have mentors too. I have people that guide me. So having a few people who can show you what's going on is always going to benefit you, especially if the person's positive, optimistic, and they're motivational. There's nothing that can go wrong with that. It's only good. There's no bad that's involved. So I have a free ebook, so just click that below. If it's not below, it's in the link in my bio. It will be in either one. And enjoy that, and I'll be back tomorrow.